as long as you own the vehicle.
It's just one more reason people are choosing New Way Ford.
So if you're shopping for your next ride, come see us at New Way Ford in Coon Rapids.
Drive the difference at New Way Ford. Visit us today in Coon Rapids or online at newwayford.net.
Bruner, Reinhardt & Morton is a general practice law firm that's been providing highly ethical, professional, and dedicated legal services to their clients since 1936 in Carroll, Glidden, Coon Rapids, and Guthrie Center communities. Bruner, Reinhardt & Morton is a 4-attorney firm with a combined 97 years of experience. For more information, call Barry, Dave, Eric, or Jessica at 792-3480 or visit brunerlegal.com.
Welcome here to the New Way Ford Scoreboard Show. I'm Tom Hawkamp, joined by the head coach of the Carroll Tigers, Craig Roeder. And Coach, I'm not going to lie, the way this one started, I was wondering what I'd signed up for, but you guys answered back pretty strong. Defensively, Young looked like he was going to maybe run all over you tonight after that first possession, but then you guys just corralled him and didn't let him get out of there.
Yeah, it's just pretty simple as far as I think I said in the pregame. If you're lined up wrong, it's going to leave a huge gap and they're going to be gone. So that was exactly what happened. We didn't get lined up correctly, and they get a good running back and made us pay. But luckily we found an answer right away, so it didn't get away from us from the get-go.
Yeah, I think you had 87 yards on that run and maybe 30 the rest of the game. Your defense was just all over him, and you weren't afraid to hit him. They were hitting him hard, knocking him back. They weren't letting him get those extra yards and squirm away from anybody.
Yeah, that's kind of been our MO both of these first two games is, the type of game that we were in for with both Gilbert and Spencer, their double wing offense is, if you're not physical, it's going to be a really long night. So, I was happy with our defense, hit them pretty hard, and we, forced a couple turnovers too from their just relentless effort. So, I was happy with the defense as far as how they swarmed and after that very first play.
Let's talk about how your offense went out there on their first possession. Heads high, just decided, here we come. We're going to do the same thing to you, and they march right down the field.
Yeah, and we opened it up. We wanted to get Cam, again, just a second start, so we tried to get a little short pass to Adam out of the backfield in the flats, and we kind of knew how they were going to probably cover that, and it went kind of as planned. So Adam had quite the, run after catch there, and the line was moving them pretty good too in the run game after that initial throw. So, and then scoring on fourth down, the guys we kind of went to our goal line set, and they were confident in running it. So I said, giddy up, here we go.
Sometimes the lineman guys don't get the acknowledgement that they should, but I thought tonight that Brody Daniel, he did a good job getting around there, opening up holes. The guys were pushing on that side, and then he came around and was a heck of a lead blocker. It's almost like a fullback from the guard spot.
And that's about what Brody is. Unfortunately, he's only about 190 pounds. So, but he's a tough kid, and he got pressed into double duty tonight just with the scheme we wanted against their offense. So he played a little nose guard. He's a linebacker, but he actually was up front. There's a lot on the defensive line. So Brody will sleep pretty good tonight. But, yeah, he's a tough kid, and a lot of the focus goes to Gavin Holt. And so he kind of can relish in that backup role there right behind him and kind of clean up whatever Gavin misses.
We talked a little bit about your defense, and there in the second half, things were kind of getting lull, and the scoop and score was a big thing for Polking. He found it, got you guys going again, and it just got the crowd back in. It got everybody going.
Yeah, again, that's huge when you can score defensively, especially. It seemed like we got to about the 30-yard line offensively and just hit a wall. We couldn't, we didn't quite get to the red zone, but you're kind of in no man's land. You can't really punt, or it doesn't do you much good to punt. And that was a big shot in the arm for the defense to score, and kind of, like you said, brought life back into the group.
I thought quarterback-wise, you talk about a second start for him. He's got the reads down, it looks like. It's just whether if he needs to dart the thing in there a little bit more or send it and let the guys run under it seems to be the deal. And, if people haven't played quarterback, which I never did, but, when you watch him, that's all progression that's slowly coming around. He's making the right reads, and he's getting the ball out to the right guy. Just got to get it there a little quicker sometimes.
Yeah, and he's trusting the guys in front of him now. I mean, Cam's a really good runner, fast kid. And so I think week one, he maybe thought there was a little more pressure than there really was. And we corrected that this week in practice. And tonight I thought he did a nice job sitting in that pocket. But then when it was time to go, he had some nice scrambles that really extended some drives for us.
Well, I've got good news and bad news. Good news, you've already watched the team you're going to play next week on film. The bad news is Humboldt's coming to town, and they've played pretty strong already this season.
Yeah, I mean, they were in the state finals last year, so I do think they got knocked off tonight up at Clear Lake. But and Clear Lake's another. I think they're both top 6 teams. I think Clear Lake was technically 6th and Humboldt was 4th. So they'll probably just swap spots next week. But yeah, we knew that when it was released. We've been in now 2 one-score losses against 4A teams that were both district champs last year, and it doesn't get any easier. And if you look forward even past that, then you're going down to another 4A semifinalist. So the biggest thing for our guys, just stay positive. We're not getting blown out, or we're right there, just a couple plays away. And I think if we keep hammering at it with a little more experience, we'll be right there.
I don't know if you get to notice it as much as I do, but third downs tonight, your student section was rocking those bleachers pretty loud, and it actually shakes our press box up there. And it's got to be nice to know that they're up there supporting you, paying attention to the game, and trying to get this defense fired up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, luckily I kind of get tunnel vision down here on the field, and with our headsets on, we don't quite see all of it. But I know our defensive guys were kind of pumping up to the crowd, and the students responded, which was what you want at a home, your home games, and get a little home field advantage that way. But yeah, the crowd was great tonight.
Coach, I greatly appreciate your time. Best of luck next week against Humboldt.
You bet. Thanks for all the coverage, and go Tigers.
That is Coach Craig Rowetter as Spencer downs the Carroll Tigers tonight 27-19. I'm Tom Hawkamp. You're listening to the New Way Ford Scoreboard Show on 1380 KCIM.
When athletes are at peak performance, they need electrolytes and carbs to keep them fueled and in the game. Athletes who give 100% know to reach for Gatorade from Pepsi Beverages of Carroll. From the pros to high school to weekend athletes, Gatorade keeps you hydrated and keeps you in the game. Reach for Gatorade, brought to you by Pepsi Beverages of Carroll.
Clogged gutters, dirty windows, lint-filled dryer vents. Don't wait till it's too late. At Curb Appeal of WCI, we make home care simple. Our gutter cleaning protects your roof and foundation from costly water damage. Our dryer vent cleaning improves airflow, lowers energy bills, and reduces fire risk. And our window cleaning leaves your home brighter, streak-free, and full of natural light. Protect your home, save money, enjoy the view. Call Curb Appeal of WCI today at 712-210-9580.
KC Miners, welcome back here to the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show on 1380 AM, 95.1 FM, as well as a Kick 106.7. A busy week, 2 of the high school football season has officially wrapped up. We will run you through some of the scores throughout the district. Class 3A District 6, Carroll loses at home tonight 27-19 to Spencer. It was Glenwood and Harlan in a close ball game, but low scoring. Glenwood comes out on top 17-12. Surprisingly, Harlan came in as the favorite in that district this year. They start the season 0-2 with a 17-12 loss. They're still waiting for Woodward, Granger, and Greene County. Atlantic all over Denison Schleswig tonight 30-8. Still waiting for Winterset Creston score there in Class 3A District 6. And then Boone all over Perry 48-7. Move to Class 2A District 2. Kemper in a big ranked matchup gets a big win on the road. They win 52-21. They were down 21-17 at the half. They hold the defense for the Knights really good in the second half. Holds Algona to no points in the second half for a big 52-21 victory. OABCIG picks up a big win over the Class A defending state champs, Tri-Center. They move up a couple classes. The Class 1A state champs, they move up a class to 2A. The OABCIG picks up an 18-14 victory there. Emmitsburg over Southeast Valley tonight, 34-7, and it was Okoboji rolling by Boyden Hall, Rock Valley, 37-6. And then Western Christian comes from behind. They were down 14-0. They beat Spirit Lake tonight, 21-14. Still waiting for Cherokee and Esterville Lincoln Central score there in Class 2A District 2. Class 1A District 2, South Central Calhoun falls on the road. They lose 28-6 to a pretty good Ridgeview squad. It's ESAC picking up their first win of the season, 25-15. They led that one 25-0. Altarelia comes back kind of late there in the fourth quarter to close that one within 10, but ESAC able to hang on for a 25-15 win. Lawton Bronson Pocahontas, last time I knew it was 10-6 at the half. Have not seen a score on that one or a final yet for you. And then again, Southeast Valley loses to Emmitsburg at home tonight, 34-7. Still waiting for a Manson Northwest Webster and MVAOCOU score in South Hamilton at Panorama. Move to Class A, District 8. St. Albert picks up a win on the road against ICAM Manning, 31-26. Wolves will fall to 1-1 to start the season. Woodbury Central shuts out West Monona at home, 42-0. Still waiting for a Westwood and Akron Westfield final. Akron Westfield, last time I knew, was up in that game, 29-19. And then Missouri Valley Loma, no score for that as well. 8-man District 9 were full on scores there. Audubon picks up a big win against a Griswold, 76-8. Wheelers rolled in that game. They were up 44-0, then I believe 62-0 at the half. Glidden Ralston and Arweva scores 15 unanswered points to pick up a 15-14 victory. All 15 of those coming in the second half. That game was a really good low-scoring ball game between two area schools. And then Cam goes on the road and knocks off Coon Rapids Bear tonight, 46-40. We will step away. We'll take a break. We'll hear from the Crusaders head coach Nathan Lindsay when we come back on the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show.
Since 1968, Mackey Motors has been serving Lake City and the surrounding communities with new and certified pre-owned vehicles. Mackey Motors is a full-service dealership providing oil changes in our Quick Lube Express bays, a service department with world-class trained technicians, a body shop and collision center with the latest equipment, a full vehicle detailing department, or come talk with one of our highly knowledgeable sales staff.
Recipient of the GM Mark of Excellence Award for 16 years running. Together, let's drive at Mackey Motors in Lake City. MackeyMotors.com.
Skip the ladder and hassle this holiday season. Let Curb Appeal of WCI light up your home. Hi, this is Scott. Our team custom installs bright, energy-efficient LED lights cut to the perfect length. Go for a clean, solid glow or a dazzling pattern that will wow the whole neighborhood. When the season ends, we'll take them down and store them for you next year, and back it with a 1-year warranty. Looking for something long-term? Ask about our permanent lighting system, perfect for holidays, game days, or any season. Curb Appeal, holiday lights handmade hassle-free. Call 712-210-9580 today.
Welcome to the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show. With me now is the head man of the Coon Rapids Bayard Crusaders, Nathan Lindsay. The Coon Rapids Crusaders CRB Crusaders fell 46-40 to Cam tonight. And doggone it, Coach, had a good win last week and just a little bit short this week.
Yeah, it was a hard-fought game. The guys played hard all 4 quarters. They never shied away when Cam kind of got up on us there in the first half, but they came out and fired away right there in the second half to get us back into it.
Yeah, you kind of told me before we started that it had been your speech there at halftime. What can you give us a little brief of what you said?
Yeah, just in that first half, we just kind of had that like shell shock look, just kind of a better opponent. Didn't really play up to what the level we normally do, and so kind of in the second half, it was just, hey, like let's get back to playing our type of football, that sort of stuff, and just letting the guys know that, hey, like we can be a good team, like we can play and be just fine with these guys.
Who were some of your offensive standouts tonight?
Yeah, so it was Caden Oswald and Ethan Bauer again. Caden had 150-some yards rushing, and then Bauer had almost 80 yards, and they each had 3 touchdowns on the ground, and then Caden had almost 100 yards through the air. And then our receiving group also kind of had those scattered catches here and there. So overall, offensively, it was good. I mean, anytime you put up 40 points on the board, it's hard to complain about the offensive night you have.
Yeah. So if you're having some success in the air, tell us about your offensive linemen and their pass protection tonight.
Yeah, our offensive line played another good game. But once they kind of got woken up, they kind of set the tone. There was one time they told us, they kind of came off and told me to, hey, keep burning the ball, coach. Like, don't be scared to go away from the ground game. And so I said, okay, you got it. And we got back to running the ground. Anytime you have two guys Caden had over 100 yards, and then Ethan had close to 100. So I mean, anytime you have two guys that are at that mark, you always can count on your offensive line, which I did tonight. I leaned on them when I needed to, and so they came out and they did what they were supposed to.
Who are those linemen?
Jackson Reich's our center in the middle, senior, and then we have Nolan Miller and Griffin Moore as our guards, and then Eli McAllister at our tight end. So those four have been, showing up ever since we had camp in early August and just busting their tails and just showing up every day. And, we simplified everything footwork-wise and just where our landmarks are for where our running back's supposed to go, and it helped them out. So it just made everything easier for them and then also for our skill guys. So it's just a good recipe for success.
Who were some of your defensive standouts tonight?
Defensively, it's, Caden and Ethan did their thing again. Griffin Moore had a good game. Max Sherburne had a good game. And Caleb Hoffman, all was a good game. So those guys, came in and did their job. A lot of, coming in and making gain tackles, a lot of half tackles, which is good to have. Caden had 4 solo, it looks like. Caleb had 3. Griffin had 3. So, I mean, those guys anytime we have 3 levels, we got Griffin on the line, Caden and Ethan in the middle, and then Caleb and Max at our DBs. So anytime we got those guys flowing, it's good. And have almost 3 tiers. It's hard for offenses to key just on one guy when we've got, a handful of guys that can make plays on defense.
Sure, that sounds like a great recipe. Hey, I see you guys get to your first road trip next week. Down, not very far, just down to Exira, Elkhorn, Kimballton. What can you tell us about them?
Exira, they got a scrappy group. I know they've got a decent quarterback that kind of like Caden, just kind of can do everything for them. So it'll be good preparing for them. Need to watch some film on their game, the games they've had. But overall, I know they're a scrappy group, so it'll be a good test for us, especially with going on the first road game. So anytime you do that, you just got to get adjusted to going on the road.
All right. Well, hey, good luck to you and the Crusaders next week, and we'll talk to you then.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. That's been Nathan Lindsay, the head man of the Coon Rapids Bayard Crusaders.
Feld Fire of Carroll is the choice of homeowners and business professionals. They chose Feld Fire because of the local and prompt service, 24/7 technician support, and the ability to control their security device from their mobile device. That makes keeping your property safer even easier. A professional Feld representative can help you create a protection plan for your home or business. No matter what you're trying to protect, they've got you covered. Feld Fire of Carroll, proud supporters of our area high school athletes.
From bump, set, spike to the crack of the bat, at Motor Inn of Carroll, we love our high school sports. And we love the opportunity to support our local schools, athletes, coaches, and parents. Through the hard work of our kids, we get the enjoyment of watching and listening to their activities. Other life lessons, like teamwork and citizenship, help create outstanding young women and men we are so proud to sponsor. Good luck to all of our local sports teams. From Motor Inn of Carroll.
We bring you back to the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show here on 1380 AM, 95.1 FM, KCIM, as well as a Kick 106.7. Casey Miners with you here in his studios. We have wrapped up week 2 of the high school football season. Some big games out there. I want to point out Kemper picking up a ranked win over number 5 in Class 3A Algona, 52-21. Kemper had a really good game tonight as they were able to get it on the ground and in the air. Brock Bading with a good stat line tonight as well. Knights really improved on defense from week 1 to week 2 with that win. Held Algona to 0 points in the second half as they win 52-21. We'll run you through district scores all coming up tonight here in the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show, 10 to midnight. It's going to be me. You're going to hear from Jim Molitor. You'll hear from Jeff Blankman, as well as Mason Nealon coming up. Craig Luck's going to join us in the studio as well. Also hearing from all of our area coaches coming up as well. We've already heard from Craig Roeder so far tonight, as well as Nathan Lindsay. We'll hear from Sean Burks coming up in just a little bit, as well as Ryan Steinkamp and the Kemper Knights on their big victory as well. We'll step away, take a break. We'll talk with Coach Steinkamp when we return here in the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show.
Thinking about your future? The DMAC Carroll campus is a smart choice. Get a quality education at an affordable price close to home. Join student organizations, meet new friends, and get involved. You'll find supportive staff guiding you every step of the way and expert faculty ready to share their knowledge and real-world experience. Kickstart your education today at the Carroll DMAC campus. Call 712-792-1755. DMAC, life's calling.
It's the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show on Kick 106.7 and KCIM, and I have to assume head coach Ryan Steinkamp of the Knights, a very happy guy tonight. You guys take care of business. A big second half for you guys. We'll dwell on that here in a moment. Just overall thoughts on a very tough opponent. You're playing up top 5 ranked team in 3A, and the final score shows Kemper 52, Algona 21. That had to feel pretty good tonight.
Yeah, I'm just really proud of our kids. You know, they battled all game long too, and just super proud of, offense, defense, special teams. We talk about everybody being important, and everybody was able to contribute tonight. So really proud of our kids.
Opening drive of the game, you guys take it 60 yards on 10 plays. You have a 4th down and 11, and you find Griffin Glenn for a touchdown. You set the tone there going forward on 4th and long. It worked, and at that point, you march down the field probably feeling pretty okay at that point.
Yeah, I know we can come here and compete, I love our kids' confidence. I talk to them like what we need is confidence every game too, and our kids like going for it, and so do we. And let them make plays, and they had great insights to what they liked and stuff like that too. So it's just great to see, and I'm just happy them building on having that success.
Algona answers first play of the next drive. They go 66 yards, 1 play for the touchdown. That could be a situation that deflates some teams. You get a big opening drive touchdown to give one up like that, but there was no letdown in your team.
Yeah, they caught us sleeping. First play we got mixed up. And that's what I told guys, self-inflicted wounds. We got to stop those things too. And the kids responded. You don't want to see those mistakes, but it's not always a mistake that happens. It's how to respond. And I thought our kids answered it very well.
In the second quarter, you guys get your second touchdown. You find Ryan Lucas open for a receiving touchdown. At that point, you guys are all tied up, 14 apiece. And for the second time, they answer one of your touchdowns with a big play. This time it's a kick return that they take to the house. So they were doing a good job early answering you guys with big plays. But then at that point, 21-14, we didn't know it, but they were done scoring the rest of the night.
Yeah, I guess, and that's what, at halftime, I really just talked to the kids about, we gave up 2 big plays, and they drove on us where it was 5 yards, and they went for it on 4th down, and their kid made a play. So, and that's what we told the kids, we were within inches of being really successful, guys. We just got to lock in, and then the kids did that second half. We really didn't make any adjustments. It was just, we got the kids, I told them, I just want to see more heart out there. We just got to be more locked in, situationally, and obviously the kids did that. And we made a lot of plays, and it was just a lot of fun to see.
So you come out in the second half. Let's talk about the defense and the special teams. They set you guys up with short fields every time. There was an interception in there. There was a 4th down stop. There was a blocked punt. You got a contribution from Ryan Clare on that blocked punt, and Braxton Vanami was able to jump on it. Short fields for the offense set up by big plays from defense and special teams, and then Easton Gifford was able to take one to the house himself. So that third quarter, this game completely changed.
Yeah, and we talked about special teams a lot, too. And I'll be honest, we did not do a very good job of our punt return game the first preseason and stuff like that, too. And we saw much film. I told the kids, we put a few guys out there, hey, there's an opportunity to go make plays. And they did. Easton and Ryan getting that block, Easton housing that. And the kids, it was a nice wall they set up, and we were smart, no blocks in the back. I thought we played a lot cleaner, smarter football tonight. And I was just really that's that jump you want to see from week 1 to week 2.
You get one more touchdown in the final quarter. Jaron Huffman, he goes over 100 yards on the night with his second touchdown run. Just a nice little bow on what turned out to be a really good Week 2 win for you guys. What are the biggest takeaways from this? Last week, offense was taking care of business. There were a lot of flags and mistakes. I feel like you guys cleaned those up a lot tonight. Where do you see the next batch of improvement that you want to see going from Week 2 to Week 3?
Just consistency. We showed those improvements. Now it's got to be consistent with them.
2 weeks in, 2-0, 2 wins over ranked opponents. Great start to the season. On the road at Shenandoah next Friday. Early thoughts on Week 3?
We just got to, we got to start evaluating them. We respect everybody. Just, we'll tell the kids we're 0-0 starting tomorrow, and we look for our next opponent and just got to keep getting better.
Congrats on the win here, and best of luck next Friday. Doug and I will see you there.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
That's Ryan Steinkamp, head coach of the Kemper Knights. 52-21. They win in Algona tonight. It's the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show on KCIM and Kick 106.7. I'm Nick Brinks.
Big things are happening at Outlaw Graphics in Carroll. Outlaw Graphics is on the move, literally. They're excited to announce they've expanded into a brand new shop, bringing you more space, more capabilities, and even more ways to help your business, team, or your event stand out. From eye-catching vehicle wraps and commercial signage to custom apparel, if you want your logo on it, they can make it happen. Planning a special event? Make it memorable with personalized t-shirts, koozies, or hats designed just for you. Watch their new space come to life. Follow the excitement on Facebook at Outlaw Signs, Graphics, and Apparel.
That was Kemper Knights head coach Ryan Steinkamp here on the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show. Casey Miners, Craig Lux in studio with you guys. And Craig, you had the chance to watch the Kemper game for a little bit while we were sitting back here collecting scores. They pick up a big top 5 victory to move up a class to play Algona. Big win for the Knights, especially going into Week 3.
Oh, absolutely. That's got to really do a lot for their confidence levels going into their district plays and stuff starting up here soon. To really take a 3A team and just they kind of turned it on the second half and just owned that game.
It was a lot like they did Week 1 against Cherokee Washington. It was the really back and forth first half. Second half, they really came on, used Jaron Huffman on the ground. Sounded like he tied a touchdown late over another 100-yard game for him, and a very good running back for the Knights that complements their passing game.
Yeah, Jaron has just been running really, really strong this year. Seeing him break a lot of tackles and get those, not always the extra 20 or 30 yards, but sometimes just that 2 to 4 yards extra. Seems like he's always falling forward.
Yeah, really big win for the Kemper Knights tonight. Again, we just heard from head coach Ryan Steinkamp. Still got plenty of the area coaches to talk to tonight. We still have to hear from Austin Stoke on Arweva with their big come-from-behind victory tonight. Sean Burks of Audubon, they roll on the road against Griswold. Also hear from Eric McCullough of East Sac, Dave Prescott of Glidden Ralston, Corey McCarville of Ike Manning, and Brian Case of South Central Calhoun. We'll run you through the scores from Class 3A District 6. It was Spencer over Carroll. Tigers fall to 0-2. Spencer wins that one 27-19. Glenwood tops Harlan at 17-12. And Craig, who would have thought Harlan starts the season 0-2 with a loss to Underwood in Week 1, and then they lose against Glenwood here in Week 2.
Yeah, those are really shocking kind of a thought there. You kind of always expect Harlan to be that powerhouse in the district, and obviously there's some weakness in the armor there this year.
Still looking for Woodward, Granger, and Greene County. Score, Atlantic gets by Denison Schleswig tonight 30-8. Winterset into Creston in a very close ball game. It's Winterset on top 28-27. And Boone rolls by Perry 48-7. Craig, any thoughts on Class 3A District 6 there?
I think that District 6 is going to be tough. Even though Harlan's 0-2, still watch out. They're a great program. They know how to turn things around. And there's some obvious chances there. I think Carroll could actually be very impactful yet. We had a rough start here the first 2 weeks, but they'll bounce back. They get some quarterback things figured out, and I think they've got a really good shot at being a tough competitor in that district. Keep looking at the other districts going throughout Class 2A District 2. It's Kemper all over Algona tonight. 52-21. OABCIG knocks off defending Class 1A state champs Tri-Center 18-14.
Southeast Valley loses at home to Emmitsburg 34-27. It's Okoboji all over Boynton Hall. Rock Valley 37-6. And then a Western Christian comes from behind, knocks off Spirit Lake at 21-17, and still waiting for that Cherokee and ELC score so far tonight. We talked about the Kemper win. Another big game in that district was OABCIG against Tri-Center. OABCIG returned a lot, wasn't quite sure what they could do in the district, but showed that they can be a top team knocking off the defending state champ.
Yeah, OABCIG's got some athletes there. They've put up some numbers last week, and this week they turned around and they played a very good Tri-Center team who's just moving up a class this year, and they're coming off a state championship team. They've got a lot of good athletes back there, so that'll be an interesting matchup coming up for Kemper.
Class 1A District 2, South Central Calhoun, it goes on the road. They lose to a pretty decent Ridgeview squad, 28-6. East Sac picks up their first win of the season. Kind of an upsetting performance, I think, if you talked to Coach McCarville last week. Wanted the boys to play a bit better against IK Manning. They bounce back, play a lot better as they pick up a victory, 25-15 in Class 2A District 2 against Alta Aurelia. Still waiting for a Lawton Bronson Pocahontas score. Last time I knew at the half, it was Lawton Bronson 10, Pocahontas 6, but that has not gone officially final yet. And then we did mention Emmitsburg over Southeast Valley tonight, 34-27. Still no score for Manson Northwest Webster, MVAOCOU, and South Hamilton at Panorama. We'll keep moving through the scores so far in Class A District 8. St. Albert hangs on for a win over IK Manning, 31-26. And Craig, that game was a little bit in St. Albert's favor. IK Manning did a nice job coming back. They're a little bit. Wolves fall to 1-1 so far this season. But you got to like the fight from the kids from IK Manning to crawl back in that ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. Those kids didn't give up at all. Talking to Corey, he said they left a couple of plays on the field, and we'll hear from him about that. But the kids didn't give up. They cut it back in and got within a score, and just a couple of bounces goes their way, and they're on top.
Woodbury Central over West Monona 42-0, and then Loma gets by Missouri Valley 31-0. Still looking for an Akron Westfield Westwood score. Last time I knew that was in the fourth quarter. It was 29-19 in favor of Akron Westfield. 8-man District 6, Audubon does not struggle tonight. They win at 76-8 over Griswold. Arweva comes from behind to beat Glidden Ralston 15-14. Cam knocks off Coon Rapids Beard 46-40, and then the other team in that district, it's got an odd number. Exira Elkhorn Kimballton is off tonight because of that district having an extra team. Those 8-man scores, what surprises you the most? Audubon, I think, rolling tonight, not a surprise, but 2 back-to-back weeks that they have not really had a struggle so far, and the offense seems to get going good. Cam picks up their first win, and then Arweva coming from behind to beat Glidden Ralston.
Yeah, that Arweva Glidden Ralston game, those 8-man scores typically tend to run a little higher, and to see that 15-14 slugfest, that had to be a real hard-fought ball game.
We will hear from head coach of the Arweva Rockets, Austin Stolk, when we come back in the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show.
Since 1968, Mackey Motors has been serving Lake City and the surrounding communities with new and certified pre-owned vehicles. Mackey Motors is a full-service dealership providing oil changes in our Quick Lube Express bays, a service department with world-class trained technicians, a body shop and collision center with the latest equipment, a full vehicle detailing department, or come talk with one of our highly knowledgeable sales staff.
Recipient of the GM Mark of Excellence Award for 16 years running. Together, let's drive at Mackey Motors in Lake City. MackeyMotors.com.
Back here on the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show, Jeff Blankman now talking with Austin Stolk, the head coach for the Arweva Rockets. They moved to 1-1 on the season, a come from behind 15-14 victory tonight against Glidden Ralston, down 14-0 at halftime. Austin, I don't know what the Newt Rockney speech you gave at the halftime there, but the guys came out in the second half, and it took a while, but they took care of business, getting that late touchdown to pull this one out. This one's got to feel pretty good because it wasn't probably the cleanest game for you tonight.
Yeah, particularly at halftime, it wasn't rocket science. We knew we could run the football.
Right.
We just weren't sustaining blocks at the point of attack, and their 2 middle linebackers, give them credit. I mean, those guys shoot quick, and they do a good job of shading the blocks, and they were hurting us on defense in that first half. And second half, and even the second quarter, we would start to sustain a drive, and then we get a bad snap or a bad penalty or bad timing on a route or whatever the case may be, and we were just hurting ourselves, and it was just kind of like last week. We know we can make the plays. It's just we're that close to making them, and we're not. And tonight, I thought, particularly in the second half, we sealed the point of attack better. allowed Wyatt to get into some space.
Right.
And, our lead blockers did a good job as well.
It looked like that move to putting him at quarterback allowed you to get an extra blocker out. Is that what helped you guys seal the block, or did that really not matter? It was just holding the blocks longer.
Yeah, yes and no. I think either way, the blocking scheme was almost the same. It's just a matter of, Wyatt's back there with the ball right away, and it takes him out of the passing game, obviously, as a wide receiver.
Right.
But that's stuff that we can kind of sprinkle in maybe in the next few weeks is get our other quarterbacks a little bit more reps, a little bit more time to see some film and to do some stuff live in practice, because we had a couple quarterbacks that only had 2 days to work on things, and it's a matter of having that confidence to be able to mix things up, get the ball out of Wyatt's hands sometimes, and that's stuff that we'll see on film.
Yeah, I had to be kind of happy with the guys that you probably had to revamp the offense a little bit in about 2 days to get ready for tonight's game, having a new quarterback that had never played quarterback at the high school level.
Yeah, and it's a matter of we had a lineup that we went into the game with tonight, and at halftime we debated. We had 5 other lineups in our head, moving different guys around. Even we had one guy we thought he's either going to play tight end, he's going to play guard, he's going to play fullback, or he's going to play tailback, literally.
Yep.
So but then we said, we're just going to stick to our guns, and we're going to seal the point of attack and just be better on our end. We know we're capable of it, and we really showed it in the fourth quarter, I thought.
What are you going to talk to the guys about with the penalties? You had a few of those that stopped drives. You also had some snapping issues that stopped drives. You guys were moving the ball at times, just never able to sustain those because you were hurting yourself in the first half.
Yeah, just little details of unnecessary things, holds or blocking the backs, way away from the football. The ball's 15 yards down the field. It's just little things like that are just not necessary, and they did hurt us in probably 4 or 5 drives where we were really moving the football. We just couldn't punch it in the end zone, and that was particularly the story of the third quarter. But the first half, our guys they'll see it on film and they'll attest to it. We just weren't sustaining blocks, and they were shooting holes quicker than us, and we did a better job in the second half.
Offensively for them, they were able to establish Sturm in the ground game. Devin Ehlers, I thought, was fantastic tonight. We almost named him player of the game because I think he's in on almost every tackle in a game. But what were they able to do to establish that ground game early? It wasn't easy for them, but they were able to get a couple of big plays, one in the 2 pass plays that really set up their touchdowns. But that run game, they got established, but you took it away in the second half.
Yeah, alluding to the pass plays, I think they bit us into that run so much, and our guys knew it. We've seen it on film. They threw the ball 8 times last week.
Right.
We knew that they were going to do that, and then they kind of dumped it over top. And but as far as them getting in their run game goes, we had a few guys out of place, not necessarily playing their disciplined defense of doing their job.
Right.
We're biting on fakes, we're biting on misdirections, we're not keeping our contains. A couple guys not shooting our gaps, but I thought the second half we played really gap sound defense, and that's how we have to play our defense, with 8 guys doing that to win games.
Halftime, you come out, they score on that opening kickoff, but for you guys, luckily, the penalty about 20 yards behind the play wipes that out. This might be a different game. That kind of motivated it looked like you guys, because I thought you guys played with more energy after that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think after that we had a couple. We had a good defensive stop right after that, Jeff. And it's a matter of we had bad penalties. They had bad penalties. Take advantage of what you can get.
Right.
You're definitely right. That could have turned the game, and it shouldn't matter if it was one penalty. We should have 3 or 4 guys swarming the football either way. That shouldn't be an excuse for getting. You almost tell them to go ahead and score the touchdown, so we learn from it. But no, it's one of them details on special teams that just can't happen. You got to keep your lanes. You got to have your bullets to break down. And a lot of times on special teams, we weren't breaking down enough to make plays on the ball carrier, and they're very quick, and you have to break down to make tackles.
I got to bring up Weston Toft here real quick. Rohrbeck makes that interception in the first half. Looks like he's gone. Toft runs him down, saves the touchdown. And then if I remember correctly, you guys hold him on downs in 2 of those plays, including the 4th down. He seals the edge and makes the tackle. That almost saved the game for you guys at
Absolutely.
that point. Yeah.
Weston or Tyson, somebody, whoever made that, chased him down. It's effort. It's all that's literal proof right there of 100% effort until the football is in the end zone, and that chase down for a 30-yard chase down, and you pin him inside the 10, and then you don't give up.
Right.
We play bend don't break defense, but when we get in the red zone and we can have tough nails like that and get stops, that's what's going to win us football games down the road.
Take me through that last drive that you guys had where Wyatt scores on the long run. It looked like on that fourth down play they kind of had him sealed up, but Wyatt does what Wyatt's capable of doing, and that is slipping tackles, finding the crease, and then when he turns on the jets, there's not many guys that are going to run him down.
Yeah, the play was on the opposite side of the field. I don't know. He jigs and jags in and out so much I don't even know what's going on. He does such a great job of reading defenses and kind of seeing the field as he's running the football too. It's just a matter of we got to get 7 guys bought into blocking on the backside or blocking downfield until the whistle, right. And then we got to trust Wyatt to make the right move. So yeah, just an incredible athlete. We're very fortunate to have him make those reads like that, and he's a very tough kid as well, mentally. So that goes a long ways.
Any debate on going for 2, or are you going for 2 no matter what?
There was no debate. We're going for the win.
Any debate on the play caller? Did you know what you wanted?
I pretty much knew what I wanted. We wanted to get 2 yards with our runner. Yep.
So what's this win mean for this group here, especially after the tough one last week?
Yeah, that's just it, Jeff. I think it shows. It's going to show a lot of poise, I think, hopefully down the road for our guys, because, you go last week and you lose your game 1, you lose it at home, you lose your starting quarterback, a senior, one of our big-time leaders. But, it goes to show our guys, we lose one guy, it's got to be next man up mentality, right. Period. And they put in way too much work, way too much time. We got way too much talent to just fold over after losing the first game of the season. And particularly winning this one, to start out district play on a win is a big deal. It's going to be a critical game down the road, and it's like I said, it's a lot of poise, a lot of grit, and a lot of toughness by our guys.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the win. Enjoy the weekend. Go Cyclones tomorrow,
Go Cyclones,
right?
Yep, that's right. And, we're on the same page.
Enjoy the game tomorrow, right?
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for coming.
You bet. Head coach again, Austin Stolk with the Arweaver Rockets. Again, they defeat Glidden Ralston tonight by a final of 15-14. Back to KC Miners and the guys at the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show.
We are back here at the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show. KC Miners' Craig Lux in the studio with you guys. And Craig, we had a chance to hear from a very happy Weaver Rocket football coach, Austin Stolk there. Jeff Blankman did that interview. Big come from behind win here for the Rockets. They move even their record up to 1-1. Sounds like they had a really good defensive performance tonight. What did you take away from hearing Coach Stolk?
It's great to hear Coach Stolk be in a great mood, and that interview may have had one of the most classic quotes there. When Jeff asked him what. On that gutsy call to go for 2, if he knew what he wanted, he said, "Yeah, we needed a play to go 2 yards." And that's a great example of having confidence in your kids.
Again, Arweaver picks up a come-from-behind victory tonight of 15-14. We will hear on the flip side from Coach Prescott on the losing side of that. Glidden Ralston, again, was up in that game 14-0. We'll hear from Coach Prescott when we come back in the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show.
Hey there, I'm Kaylor, part of the sales team at New Way Ford.
And I'm Matt, also on the New Way Ford sales team. We're here to tell you why shopping with us is different.
We've got great prices, a no-pressure approach, and a staff that knows the ins and outs of every vehicle on the lot.
And let's not forget, every new vehicle comes with warranty forever. That's coverage for as long as you own the vehicle.
It's just one more reason people are choosing New Way Ford.
So if you're shopping for your next ride, come see us at New Way Ford in Coon Rapids.
Drive the difference at New Way Ford. Visit us today in Coon Rapids or online at newwayford.net.
Jeff Blankman here on the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show, talking with Dave Prescott, the head coach for the Glidden Ralston Wildcats. They suffer a heartbreaker tonight, falling 15-14 in the final couple of minutes of the game over at Arweaver. They fall to 1-1 on the season. Coach, first thing you said to me when I walked down here is you're like, well, last week we kind of got one late. Tonight one kind of slipped away from you late.
Yeah, we just kind of got there going in the second half. We just couldn't generate our offense, and we just had some untimely penalties, and that's kind of been the story of our season so far. We just got to keep working harder to eliminate them because they're killing us. We just can't play and then just lose 5 yards, or get a block in the back, clear away from the play. We just got to play a little smarter football.
And as I say, a lot of those penalties were well behind the play tonight, which took away some big plays from you guys.
Yeah, we had some big runs that were hauled back, and we just had that open a kickoff return of the second half where we got it and scored. We work hard on our returns and everything, and then just for some reason somebody just does something there uncharacteristic of what we do, and we just have to come back and pay the price.
What'd you guys see coming into this week? Because Sturm had, I think, 4 carries for 12 yards last week, but he was kind of the workhorse for you in the run game tonight. Why did you feel like coming into this game he'd be the guy to lean on? Because I thought he ran the ball really well.
Yeah, Henry did a good job. I mean, he's a big guy,
Yep.
you know, and we kind of want to have a big guy, small guy thing, and he was the one that we felt that we could really pound down, you know, the Arweva defense with,
Yep.
instead of one of our smaller guys, you know, and
Yep.
that way we could beat him, you know, into submission there a little bit. But, you know, Henry did a great job tonight, played defense, and he runs hard. He's hard to tackle. I'd hate to try to tackle him.
Right,
So
yeah.
that was kind of the game plan, was just maybe to run him a little bit more and make them work on their tackles.
What'd you see from the offensive line in the first half that allowed you guys to kind of control that first half?
Well, you know, we were getting to our blocks, sustaining blocks a little bit better than what we normally did. You know, we still had the penalty bug hitting us, but I just thought, you know, we just made a little bit better improvement. You know, we had put Jordan Hillsheim in at that guard position, and it was just new to him, and we really kind of struggled with that aspect of it. Hopefully we get back here in the next few weeks to full strength, and we'll be a lot better team.
Coach, as far as the defense played really well in the first half, you kind of kept their offense, but they switched to Regaler at quarterback in the second half. What difficulties did that give you guys? I'm sure that was something you thought they could do in this game.
Yeah, it gave them one more guy to the outside there that, you know, when you have to throw it out there, you'd only have a couple guys blocking, and it seemed like they ran that trips, and then they got that little bunch going, and that's where they were running. Gives them an extra man, and a little tougher on us, because then we have to adjust over there, and if we have to adjust over, then we're leaving something else open. So they kind of played into, we kind of had a little trouble with that, and they kind of did a good job formationing us and seeing how that worked out.
Rohrbeck goes down for you there in the second half. How did that change what you guys tried to do offensively?
Well, you know, Landon is a really good athlete there, and he's more of our runner, and we were trying to establish run, and
Right.
we were moving the ball pretty well, and he goes down. You know, we miss out on his speed and his decision making. Brody does a good job for us.
Right.
He has a good command of the offense, but we just had trouble finding. We had wide open receivers tonight, but we just couldn't find them.
Right.
And I think it was just more kind of get into a panic mode, and we just got to get more experience and get a little better in that aspect of it.
I thought Brody did a nice job scrambling on that last drive before they kind of took that away from him there late.
Yeah, he does a good job, you know, getting around and trying to keep his eyes open down the field and everything. We had called a couple of plays, and then we got kind of mixed up there at the end and had to call that, you know, use that last time out. But I figured it was better to have the play that I wanted to have rather than just try to guess at something, especially with the third down, then, you know, on that aspect of it. We still had a couple wide open receivers, but we just didn't see the one that I wanted him to, so it'll get better as we go here.
Coach, I hate to take you back to their last possession there, but it looked like you had the right defense called. You had Regala rolling out, looked like you had him seamed up. He just made a play on that play that he scored on.
Yeah, I remember we talked earlier in the week. I said, you know, you got to play and you got to get him down.
Right.
You got to make sure, you know, and we did a good job most all night long. You know, they were going backwards most of the night, you know, and that couple runs that he made were the big difference in the game, because without him and without him making those runs, you know, then it would have been a whole different story.
Did you anticipate them going for two if they scored there?
I figured they probably would. I know I would. I mean, of course, we don't kick field goals, so I wouldn't have had 7 points anyways. But, you know, yeah, I figured they would, and then I thought that maybe that'll play into us, because then, you know, we'd have a good shot at stopping that. But, you know, he got hit. We had him in a couple yards deep, but still, you know, that slipperiness, he got through and got to the end zone. So, you know, we'll just have to keep working on tackling. We do a good job, but we just untimely, you know, things happened, and they made the plays that they did, and, you know, we just have to go back and watch what we did wrong and work on it and get better.
Minus the penalty there on the kickoff to open the second half, had to be happy with what you saw out of your special teams tonight.
Yeah, our special teams are usually pretty good. Our punt team does really well getting the ball down there. We do a good job covering on kickoff. We kind of limited them on that. Kick return and punt return is two things we work on a lot, and our kick return does a pretty good job getting us good field position. You don't always want to stop at the 15-yard line, but sometimes we just don't make good decisions on it, just depending on where the ball placement is when they kick it. But if they kick it to us and we get the opportunity to set up our return, it just usually does pretty well.
What are you going to focus on this week getting ready for week 3 next Friday?
Well, we're just going to have to keep getting better at offense. We're going to try to get a little bit better at the pass game. I felt that they kind of creeped up on us and took their sweep away from us. That's why we were kind of trying to bang in there with Henry a little bit more and trying to open up that outside. But we just couldn't get that step out there, and they were really reactive and just hammering down whenever they saw us try to go outside. So they just had to work on that.
Well, Dave, I appreciate you joining us. A tough loss tonight, so thank you very much for taking the time to sit down and chat with us.
Yeah, no problem. Always great talking to you, Jeff.
You bet. Head coach Dave Prescott again with the Glidden-Ralston Wildcats. Again, they fall 15-14 tonight to Arweva. We're going to send it back now to the studios in KC Miners at the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show.
When athletes are at peak performance, they need electrolytes and carbs to keep them fueled and in the game. Athletes who give 100% know to reach for Gatorade from Pepsi Beverages of Carroll. From the pros to high school to weekend athletes, Gatorade keeps you hydrated and keeps you in the game. Reach for Gatorade, brought to you by Pepsi Beverages of Carroll.
We are almost to hour 2 here, the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show. Casey Miners, Jim Molitor now with us, as well as Craig Lux here in his studio. New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show rolling along. We had plenty of scores and plenty of good games in Week 2 as we have officially wrapped up Week 2 of the high school football season. Looking at district scores for you, I'll start in Class 3A, District 6. Carroll falls at home tonight, 27-19 to Spencer. Glenwood and Harlan in a close, low-scoring ball game. Harlan starts the year 0-2. Glenwood on top, 17-12. It's Woodward Granger getting by Greene County, 36-19. Atlantic holds Dennis and Sleswig to 8 points. They win that one, 30-8. And Winterset and Creston in a close one. Winterset wins 28-27, and then Boone all over Perry, 48-7. Whoever wants to go next.
All right. This is me. I'll come in here. So we got the Class 2A District 2 that featured the Kemper 2A number 1 team against Algona number 5 team in 3A. Kemper rolls 52-21. Then we had a battle in Tri-Center with OA-BCIG. OA-BCIG coming away with a 4-point win there, 18-14. Emmitsburg Southeast Valley. Emmitsburg comes away with a 1-touchdown win. Boyden Hull, Rock Valley 6, Okoboji 37. Spirit Lake 17, Western Christian 21. And we still don't have a report yet on that Cherokee ELC game.
All right. Class 1A District 2, the Titans from South Central Calhoun fall to the Raptors from Ridgeview 28-6. East Sac gets their first win of the year with a 25-15 win over Alta Aurelia. Lawton Bronson defeated Pocahontas area 17-12. The Emmitsburg score again over Southeast Valley 34-27. MVAOU COU defeated Manson Northwest Webster 42-12. And in a fairly close game, Panorama gets by South Hamilton 28-22.
We'll turn the page on to Class A, District 8 at St. Albert and picking up a win over ICAM Manning on the road, 31-26. St. Albert was up by, I think, double digits at one point in that ball game. Wolves try to come back at the end, but fall by 5 points there. West Monona falls on the road to Woodbury Central, 42-0. It's Akron Westfield over Westwood, 29-19, and Aloma shuts out Missouri Valley, 31-0.
In the 8-man District 9, we have Audubon kind of making a statement tonight, over top of Griswold, 76-8. Glidden Ralston and Arweva in that battle of a slugfest there, and Arweva with the late 2-point conversion to seal the win for that in a 15-14 win. Caminita sneaks by Coon Rapids Bayard 46-40, and Exira Elkhorn is open this week with that odd number.
And the odd number in that district, as Craig just said, so Exira had the week off. Jim, I asked Craig his thoughts after we wrap up week 2. You've had a chance to talk to some of the coaches. We ran through the scores. What really surprised you and stood out to a really good performance this week from some of the area schools?
Well, obviously, Kemper had a really good showing up at Algona. I mean, that good win for the East Sac Raiders with Eric McCullough. He was happy for the first 3 quarters, and he was kind of saying how he kind of did a little rearranging, and Altaria threw 2 touchdowns on the scoreboard, and so he had to kind of move kids back in and play just to preserve the 10-point win for him. So. Brian Case was pretty disappointed, and like Brian does, Brian put all the blame on him for not getting the kids ready. But I told him, I said, I've refereed a lot of your games and known you quite a while. I says, you'll get them squared away this week. So, and I mean that. He will get them squared away this week, and they'll play a lot better next week. Again, like Greg said, Audubon made a statement.
Yeah,
and I mean, I think, if memory serves me right, I think Sean said Griswold had like 7-8 yards of total offense. I mean, that's just kind of unreal, especially 8-man football.
An all-around performance from Audubon tonight.
Very much all around. And, he got everybody in. Nathan Lindsay with the Crusaders was very happy with the effort of his kids. They just need to go and just put it all together, and I think they'll come out and they'll play better next week too. So
we will step away, take a break. We got the second hour of the show coming up next here on KCIM as well as Kick 106.7.
When you need to know, KCIM is the place to listen on 1380 AM and 95.1 FM. This is KCIM Carroll.
Fast and fearless, baby. Here we go. Z2, flood right close. Press 34 duo. X1 on.
This is the New Way Forward Football Scoreboard Show.
Football!
Every score, every game, every coach. You'll hear it all from this week in high school football. The New Way Forward Football Scoreboard Show on KCIM and Kick 106.7 is also brought to you by Bruner, Reinhardt, and Morton, Feld Fire, Mackey Motors, Outlaw Graphics, DMAC and Carroll, New Way Ford, Gatorade, Curb Appeal, and Motor Inn. Now let's get you caught up with all the scores.
Welcome you into the second hour of the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show. Casey Miners here into KCIM as well as Kick 106.7. Week 2 of the high school football season officially wrapped up. We still got plenty of coaches to talk to. You'll hear from Sean Burks of Audubon coming up a little bit, Eric McCullough of East Sac, Corey McCarville of Ike Manning, and Brian Case of South Central Calhoun. Audubon makes a statement win tonight in 8-man District 9. They have rolled for 2 straight weeks, knocking off defending 8-man champion Remsen St. Mary's last week, and then they get by Griswold tonight 76-8. We got Wheeler's head coach Sean Burks coming up next here on the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show.
Welcome to the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show. With me is the victorious Audubon Wheeler coach Sean Burks. The Wheelers defeated Griswold tonight 76-8. And congrats, Coach Burks, on another win this year. And we're making statements, aren't we?
Yeah, our kids have had a really mature focus through summer, through camp, through week 1, and now through week 2. I mean, I don't throw compliments around lightly, and we really challenged the kids this week to be disciplined. A lot of possibility to be a little bit of a letdown and trap. First road game, coming off a big emotional win last week against Remsen. Griswold, perennially hasn't won a lot of games, so we challenged our kids not to be overconfident and to show up and get better. because good teams get their most improvement from week 1 to week 2. But if our kids hadn't showed up with that focus, it probably wouldn't have happened. So really, really happy with the way the kids showed up. It was 38 points in the first quarter and 30 more in the second quarter. And pretty balanced attack when we threw for 150 and only rushed for 100 tonight. A lot of short fields. The varsity had, I think, maybe 7 drives, and I think they only had like 12 plays again. And then throw in a punt return touchdown on top of that. So just a tremendous job by the boys tonight, and really excited and really, really happy with the way they showed up, and they had prepared all week, and then they came out and were ready to go from the get-go tonight.
So Carson and Wessels play tonight, or would keep him out again this week? Or
no, we brought Carson in a little bit more this week, kind of easing him back in. He played a little bit more in the first half. He had 5 carries and a touchdown run. He had, I think, maybe no, he didn't have any pass attempts tonight. He had maybe a 2-point conversion or something like that. So yeah, we're easing him back in a little bit. Played him a little bit more with the varsity guys this week, and then a little bit in the JV in the second half, and then kind of let Paxton Bean take over from there. So just kind of easing Carson back in. He's itching and ready to go, and he's staying involved. And it's a luxury we have that we have all the faith in the world in both quarterbacks, and they can both run the full offense. And tonight was an example of that.
Sure. Okay. Defensively, what were your standout performances tonight?
I just think team-wise, I think we had, something like 7 tackles for loss. Really shut down the run game early and forced them to be one-dimensional, and then we're able to be pretty opportunistic. I think we, I need to pull it up and look at it, but I think their quarterback finished the night, 3 for 22 passing or something like that. Just our defensive backs got tested and were able to, still pick off a pass. So yeah, if you just to keep them to 3 completions and to keep them to under 100 total yards. I think rushing wise, I think they had something like 22 carries for 50 yards or something like that. So just an all-around team performance. I thought our D-line and linebackers did a great job of shutting down the run game, and then our DBs did a nice job when they were tested of not allowing much. So defensively, a little more up front. Offensively, it was a little bit more explosive tonight. We threw the ball. I think Aiden Kiergaard finished 4 for 5 with 4 touchdowns and 150-plus yards passing. So we decided tonight we want to throw it a little bit more, and I thought we did a nice job with that, whereas last week I think we only threw 1 pass. So just kind of putting a little bit more out there on film and make teams prepare for a little bit more for us. Really happy that our 2 seniors that play tight end that didn't touch the ball last week. Austin Christensen had 2 catches for, I think, 60 yards, and both of them for touchdowns, and Brody Weber had a catch for 65 yards and a touchdown. And then Hudson Hooker, who does a lot of our nasty work at our backside weak tight end, caught a 28-yard touchdown on, I think, 4th and 20 or something when the JV was in, and Aiden was still playing quarterback with them, and Aiden hit Hudson for another touchdown. So all 4 completions went for touchdowns tonight, and then on the ground game was very balanced, where our Aiden had 3 carries, Carson had 5 carries, Paxton, the JV quarterback, had 3 carries, Brody, the JV running back, had 5 carries, Carson, the freshman running back, had 2 carries, Mason Castrovaro, the varsity running back, had 3 carries, for 21 carries for about 100 yards, and to match our 150 passing. So just a real nice, complete performance on both sides tonight.
Yeah, it almost kind of sounded like, did you hold them underneath 100 yards of total offense, or right at around 100?
I think they finished the night with 78 yards of total offense.
Wow, that's pretty decent. Obviously, you got a few. Did you get a few more? You made the comment last week that you withheld some of the freshmen because they weren't quite ready. Did some of them get to play tonight?
Yeah, we got everybody in tonight. Griswold wasn't quite as big as Remsen and had a little more bench where they could rotate some JV guys in, where Remsen just didn't have that ability, and they had to keep some older guys in there, and we understood that. And our freshmen had another week of practice and prep to get bigger, and so we let them all play, and they've got a big JV game Monday with Woodbine, so we were excited about that.
Yeah, you had talked that last week too, that you were kind of waiting, and because they had a JV game coming, and so hey, that good for you. You got them all in. All right, hey, you said that before we got on the air that the Rockets from Arweva come to Audubon tomorrow night. They last I saw they were ahead of Glidden 15-14. What do you know about them?
Not a lot. We know a little bit just because, I know Coach Stolk and they were at Central Team Camp. So I've seen some of their guys and I've heard about them, but, we haven't played each other in quite a while now. So I've got to get to know their personnel a little bit over the weekend and make a game plan. But just knowing them from the area, the Von Glon kid and Ayler's kid up front, I know are pretty physical. I believe one plays linebacker. They both kind of play up front on the offense, I believe. And then obviously anytime you've got a regaler, that catches everybody's attention. I think the thing that jumps out to me just from the little bit I saw of them at camp and knowing the way they distribute the ball, it's one of those teams that is very balanced and they're comfortable doing whatever, run, pass, outside, inside, deep, shallow. They're really going to find what you're going to try to give them and take advantage of that. Where some teams, you really have a tendency of, hey, if we shut down the run game, they don't want to pass, or they're going to try to run side to side, but they don't really want to run right at you, or the opposite of those things. So I think the number one thing for us is offensive balance for them, and then defensively, they've run the same thing for a long time. We'll see if they're still running it. But their zone stuff has always done a nice job of funneling things to their linebackers. And I know when we watched the Woodbine film last year, I thought they had some kids that really flew around to the ball. It's another district opportunity, and it's at home. It's homecoming. It's a program we have a lot of respect for. It's a team that was getting a lot of preseason publicity and rankings and those things, and I think rightfully so. And we have to bring our A game next Friday.
All right. Well, good luck next week, and we'll talk to you then.
Thank you.
All right. That's been Sean Burks, head man of the Audubon Wheelers.
Hey there, I'm Kaler, part of the sales team at New Way Ford.
And I'm Matt, also on the New Way Ford sales team. We're here to tell you why shopping with us is different.
We've got great prices, a no-pressure approach, and a staff that knows the ins and outs of every vehicle on the lot.
And let's not forget, every new vehicle comes with warranty forever. That's coverage for as long as you own the vehicle.
It's just one more reason people are choosing New Way Ford.
So if you're shopping for your next ride, come see us at New Way Ford in Coon Rapids.
Drive the difference at New Way Ford. Visit us today in Coon Rapids or online at newwayford.net.
Little Copperhead Road going to bring us back into the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard show here on 1380 AM, 95.1 FM at KCIM, as well as Kick 106.7. You just heard from the head football coach of the Audubon Wheelers, Sean Burks. They pick up a big win tonight to go to 2-0, 76-8 over Griswold. They haven't played Griswold since both of them were in 11-man football.
Yeah, I heard that today. That was, really, Griswold's not all that far from Audubon. It's just not all that far from Atlantic.
Yeah, one's just been playing 11-man football, one's been playing 8, so the first time they got to play each other since they were both 11-man football teams. And Jim had the chance to talk to Eric McCullough, very happy Eric McCullough tonight. Seemed like the kids played a lot better tonight than they did week one. They pick up a 25-15 win.
Yeah, they did. And, they've got a couple of the players back that didn't play last week, and so that helped. They jumped out early, and were playing decent football for the first 3 quarters, he said. And then they had a little hiccup, I guess I want to call it, and, let Alto Aurelia into the game. And so, but no, he's happy. He knows they have work to do. And, I've known Eric for quite a while, too, and he'll get back to working with the kids and get them ready to go this week.
We will hear from the head man of the East Sac County Raiders coming up next. Eric McCullough. Raiders win tonight 25-15.
When athletes are at peak performance, they need electrolytes and carbs to keep them fueled and in the game. Athletes who give 100% know to reach for Gatorade from Pepsi Beverages of Carroll. From the pros to high school to weekend athletes, Gatorade keeps you hydrated and keeps you in the game. Reach for Gatorade, brought to you by Pepsi Beverages of Carroll.
Welcome to the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard show. With me on the phone now is the victorious East Sac Raider coach, Eric McCullough. The East Sac Raiders are fresh off a 25-15 win over Alto Aurelia. And congratulations, Coach, on your first win this year.
Yeah, Jim, it was good for the kids to kind of jump out and bounce back from last week. And, when you can kind of watch film and the kids can really see from last week the things we need to improve on. And we definitely did that this week, and that was the challenge, is we need to get out quick. And we did. We're able to do that and have some success early. And I think that's definitely what helped us. After halftime, we just kind of struggled getting going. But overall, I was real happy with how we started the game and the kids' effort. And, their intensity was there at the beginning. And now we just kind of need to figure out how to do it all 4 quarters.
Well, yeah. I mean, as you're talking, you got one good half. Now you got to put 2 halves together to make a complete game.
Yeah, because after the third quarter, we were up 25-0. So we played really kind of good 3 quarters. And in the third quarter, I kind of did some switching around. Wanted to see some other personnel kind of for future, wanted to see how some things would work. And, of course, it just didn't quite go as clean as we hoped and kind of put us in some down and distance type situations and kind of just gave them a little bit more edge. But our kids, just flat out did a good job of trying to keep things under control. They were able to kind of break some things in that fourth quarter. We had some untimely penalties on defense and, some miscues a little bit, and I just kind of jumped on. And then I should have put out our hands team after kickoff, but there was like 8 minutes left, but they kind of dribbled one at us, and they were able to jump on it to be able to kind of get some momentum and drive down and score it again. And then we put our hands team out for that next kickoff, and we're able to kind of cover it up. Well, no, I think they were offsides, and then he kicked it out of bounds. So, it worked out for us, and we were kind of able to run a lot of clock off. And then our defense had to kind of hold there the last, I think they did 3 plays there, and we didn't give up any yards. So we were able to tighten the bootstraps a little bit there in the end of the fourth quarter. But at the beginning of the fourth quarter, we kind of let things get out of hand a little bit.
Sure. Okay. Who were some of your offensive standouts tonight?
We finally got Carson Schmidt back healthy. He kind of had an injury in camp time and trying to get that healed up. And we had him come out, and we had some sickness with some other kids, so we're able to kind of put him in our tailback spot. He come out and he had a great night. I believe it was 25 carries for 182 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it was really good to see him come out and just have a good game. I definitely know he wanted more, but we kind of pulled the reins there in the second half just to keep him healthy the rest of the year. Weston Julin did another good job for us at quarterback. He had 9 carries for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns. So those guys, had the primary, I think, of our offense and stuff. Passing, we made some plays, but we definitely need to get better in that area. Again, Weston was 7 of 10 for 54 yards. And on the receiving side, Dawson Allen had 1 for 34, and Dawson had 5 for 34, and Zach had 2 catches for 12. So we got to kind of work on our pass game a little bit, I think, as far as getting some of that kinks worked out. And, and having Weston, he's as a sophomore jumping in at quarterback, he's really done a good job of growing up and understanding. I mean, when he's kind of coming to me with suggestions, and then they're good suggestions, and we kind of go with it and kind of see how it goes. That's what I really enjoy seeing, him taking kind of a little bit of that leadership role. And our guys up front, our offensive line, defensive line, tonight, we were able, like I said, run the ball quite a bit. And if we would have stayed with it, definitely probably could have had a little bit more. But to just kind of bounce back from last week and kind of get some more offensive yardage under us and some scores, that definitely makes us feel good and kind of gets us kind of going the right direction. And defensively, Jim, they ran kind of a flex bone, I guess you would call it, and a lot of dive option, belly option type stuff. So our kids, I think at times did an excellent job at it. The other times we kind of bit and just getting excited, wanting to hit that fullback, and the quarterback would keep it around and, kind of pick up some yards that way. And once we settled down at times, we did a really good job of keeping him under control. So, and then on the defensive side, Gabe King was looks like our leading tackler with 9 solos and 4 assists, 1 for loss, and looks like Dawson Allen had 6 solos and 4 assists. Cal McCullough had 6 solos and an assist. Then kind of spread out everybody else with a couple tackles here and there. So overall, really good team effort.
Well, that sounds that way. So also, you were saying earlier that you were ahead 25-0. So obviously you got some extra bodies in the game tonight that you might.
We did. We're able to put a few guys here and there to give them some looks. Definitely not as many as we'd hoped. If we could have maybe put one more on the board and we could have kind of let off a little bit on offense, but then when they scored 2 and we only got that 10-point lead, we kind of had to shuffle guys back in again just to keep things under control.
Yeah, I understand that. You got to preserve what you've worked for, but but it's also good to get those kids in and get them some experience, and maybe this week you might get them in there some more, and also you got to look and see what maybe you have for some added depth, so.
Yeah, and we're going to get a chance finally. We haven't had a JV game yet. We play that on Monday against Alta really again, so it'll give our guys a chance to, get their feet wet a little bit in the game and give us a chance to look at some kids and kind of, like you said, give them maybe a few more reps here and there and see if we can get them to develop too.
All right. I see you get MVAOU, COU at home next week. Looking forward to another good game, or what do you know about them?
Yeah, so I believe they won tonight. They won pretty big last week. I think they were maybe even on that ranked score, somebody's poll. I'm not sure. But Coach Berger over there, he was at Ogden for a while. Now he's over here at Maple Valley Anthony Charter Oak U, and he's done a good job of that program the last couple of years. And he's got some athletes, and he's definitely something we're going to have to prepare for defensively. We're going to have to make some definite changes from what we worked on this week with that option, that dive, and now I think we're going to get spread out a little bit more and try to run, kind of control that run game of his and also their play action stuff. So we'll have a lot of work to do over the weekend and do some film watching and try and get some schemes for our kids to hopefully have a successful Friday night next week.
All right. Well, hey, wish you good luck next week, and we'll talk to you then.
Hey, we appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. That's been Eric McCullough from the East Sac Raiders.
Feld Fire of Carroll is the choice of homeowners and business professionals. They chose Feld Fire because of the local and prompt service, 24/7 technician support, and the ability to control their security device from their mobile device. That makes keeping your property safer even easier. A professional Feld representative can help you create a protection plan for your home or business. No matter what you're trying to protect, they've got you covered. Feld Fire of Carroll, proud supporters of our area high school athletes.
We welcome you back to the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show here on 1380 AM, 95.1 FM, KCIM, as well as Kick 106.7. We officially have all the scores for the night. We will run you through all of the area districts, as well as still got a couple coaches to talk to yet here on the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show. I'll start in Class 3A District 6. We've got Spencer over Carroll tonight. Tigers fall to 0-2. They lose 27-19. Glenwood over Harlan is 17-12. Woodward Granger knocks off Greene County 36-19. Atlantic over Denison Schleswig 30-8. Winterset and Creston in a close ball game. Winterset wins that one by 1 point, 28-27, and Boone all over Perry 48-7.
Moving on to Class 2A District 2. Once again in the battle of two ranked teams tonight, Kemper rolls 52-21 over Algona. Tri-Center losing a tough one to OA BCIG 18-14. Emmetsburg squeaks by a touchdown over Southeast Valley. Boyden Hole gets kind of beat up on by Okoboji tonight, 37-6. Spirit Lake 17, West Christian 21, and then Cherokee, we finally got that score finalized, was a winner over ELC 28-14.
Class 1A District 2, it was Ridgeview defeating South Central Calhoun 28-6. East Sac gets a win tonight with a 25-15 victory over Alta Aurelia. Lawton Bronson squeaks by Pocahontas area 17-12. Emmetsburg by a touchdown over Southeast Valley 34-27. MVAO COU 42, Manson Northwest Webster 12, and Panorama in a close one over South Hamilton 28-22.
Moving on, flipping the page, Class A, District 8, St. Albert over ICAM Manning in a close ball game, 31-26. We'll hear from head coach Corey McCarville coming up in just a little bit here on the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show. Also in that Class A, District 8, it's Woodbury Central 42, West Monona 0. Akron Westfield 29, Westwood 19, and Loma shuts out Missouri Valley 31-0.
The final in the 8-man District 9, Audubon with that statement win, 76 over Griswold. 76-8. Glidden Ralston, it's knocked off by Arweva, 15-14. Caminita, 46. Coon Rapids Bayard, 40 in a tough fight there. And once again, that's an extra team with Xira having the night off.
We will talk with head coach Corey McCarville coming up in just a little bit. Craig had a chance to talk with Corey. Seems like they were down early in that ball game, had some fight in them. What did McCarville have to say a little bit?
You know, Corey just said the kids played hard. They battled back. They gave themselves a chance at the end. You know, an onside kick bounced a little different. Maybe that's a different ending score there. But he was proud of the kids for battling back, but said they left a lot of plays on the field, and that's something they look to clean up this week.
Again, we'll talk with ICAM Manning head coach Corey McCarville when we come back in the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show.
From bump, set, spike to the crack of the bat. At Motor Inn of Carroll, we love our high school sports, and we love the opportunity to support our local schools, athletes, coaches, and parents. Through the hard work of our kids, we get the enjoyment of watching and listening to their activities. Other life lessons, like teamwork and citizenship, help create outstanding young women and men we are so proud to sponsor. Good luck to all of our local sports teams from Motor Inn of Carroll.
We're here with Coach Corey McCarville, discussing their game with St. Albert's here tonight on the Carroll Broadcasting Scoreboard Show. Coach McCarville, not the ending we wanted to have tonight.
Yeah, you know, we left a lot of plays on the field, and it was kind of a disappointing outcome for us. You know, the guys battled to the very, very end, but yeah, we didn't tackle well enough, and we didn't make enough plays in the end.
Yeah, when you have trouble tackling, that usually doesn't bode well for you. What things went right for you, though, Coach?
Well, you know, I thought Ben Ramsey had a nice game at quarterback. I don't have the stat sheet in front of me, but I thought he, you know, controlled the offense well. I thought Davis Rasmussen had a nice game, tailback position. You know, he did some good things. You know, I thought Brock Kuzla, he had some catches in there as well. So, you know, offensively we did some good things. They scored a long touchdown in the first play of the second half, and then we were able to kind of hold them up and to give ourselves a chance. So I'm really proud of how the guys battled to the very, very end. But at the end of the day, in a lot of ways, we kind of beat ourselves.
Yeah, those nights don't always reflect what the teams are capable of. You know, you mentioned Ben Ramsey. I know he was kind of a dual threat for you last week. What did he do well tonight? You know, was he throwing the ball well?
Yeah, he did throw the ball well. He had some really nice passes in there. He had a long touchdown run, and you know he figured out when to run with it and when to throw it. And you know I know he had one kind of bad interception, but he knows that. You know, I think the world of the kid. He's smart. He's athletic. He's competitive. And I think the future's very bright for him. We just got to keep moving forward.
Good. That's always great to have a great leader like that on your team. You know, yeah. And St. Albert's was, you know, they played well against Tri-Center last week, defending state championship team, and So they came in and they did some things very well against you guys, and just unfortunately we make a few more tackles and a few more plays, and it goes your way.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, we left a lot of plays out on the field. We'll just put it that way. We had guys open, we just didn't execute it all the way through. So it's disappointing, but I think the guys hopefully will come back eager and hungry and ready to go next week.
It's tough to battle from behind the whole night, and your kids stayed within 5 points. You were right there and gave yourselves a chance to win.
Yeah, we were down a couple of scores. We scored late, and we had an opportunity for an onside kick, and we didn't get it. And they nailed it out, and we were kind of down behind. We were down in the entire second half, and it was just a hole that we were just constantly trying to claw out of the hole.
Okay. Well, that's something you'll probably look to correct next week. Come out and try to jump up right away, and it's always a little easier to play with that cushion. If that'll do for tonight, I appreciate your time.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Good luck next week, Coach.
Big things are happening at Outlaw Graphics in Carroll. Outlaw Graphics is on the move, literally. They're excited to announce they've expanded into a brand new shop, bringing you more space, more capabilities, and even more ways to help your business, team, or your event stand out. From eye-catching vehicle wraps and commercial signage to custom apparel, if you want your logo on it, they can make it happen. Planning a special event? Make it memorable with personalized t-shirts, koozies, or hats designed just for you. Watch their new space come to life. Follow the excitement on Facebook at Outlaw Signs, Graphics, and Apparel.
That was head football coach of the IK Manning Wolves, Corey McCarville, here in the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show. Casey Miners, Jim Molitor, Craig Lux in the studio with you guys as we have wrapped up week 2 of the high school football season. We'll run you through the scores again. This time we'll go from the back. We'll start in 8-man at District 9. Audubon picks up a very big statement win tonight over Griswold at 76-8. Those two teams have not played each other since they were both in 11-man football, so the first time that they've met up in quite a while. Coon Rapids Bayard was down 28-14 in that ball game. They climb back, lose to Cam by a touchdown, 46-40. Arweva and Glidden Ralston, a low-scoring game for 8-man football. Glidden Ralston up 14-0 at the half. Arweva scores 15 unanswered points. They go for it on a 2-point conversion off a touchdown to win that one 15-14. And then Exira, Elkhorn, Kimballton off this week with the odd number of teams in that district.
Class A District 8, St. Albert's, as we just heard from Coach McCarville, was victorious over IKM Manning by 5 points tonight, 31-26. West Monona and Woodbury Central pulls away the entire game pretty much from them, 42-0. Akron Westfield 29 over Westfield's 19, and Missouri Valley was shut out against Loma 31-0.
All right, Class 1A District 2, Ridgeview defeats South Central Calhoun 28-6. East Sac 10-point win over Alta Aurelia 25-15. In a close one, Lawton Bronson gets by Pocahontas area 17-12. Emmitsburg over Southeast Valley 34-27. MVA-OU COU 42, Manson Northwest Webster 12, and Panorama 28, South Hamilton 22.
Class 2A District 2, Kemper with a statement tonight as they knock off 3A number 5 Algona 52-21. It's OABCIG coming back and beating Tri-Center, who was the defending Class 1A state champs a season ago, 18-14. Boynton Hall Rock Valley falls on the road to Okoboji tonight, 37-6. It's a Cherokee over Esterville Lincoln Central, 28-14. Spirit Lake was up in that game, but Western Christian comes from behind to knock off Spirit Lake, who were state runners-up in Class 2A last year. They fall to 0-2. Western Christian 21, Spirit Lake 17. And Emmitsburg knocks off Southeast Valley tonight 34-27.
Class 3A District 6, we had Spencer, Carroll hosting Spencer tonight, and they came out on the short end, 27-19. Glenwood 17-12 over Harlan. Harlan starts out 0-2 on the season. Woodward Granger 36, Greene County 19. Atlantic over Denison Schleswig 30-8. Winterset 28, Creston 27 in a close one, and Boone all over Perry 48-7.
A lot of lopsided games, but a lot of close games so far here in the second week of the high school football season. We'll take a look at some of the other scores from teams around the state. ADM knocks off Ballard tonight 41-3. As we mentioned, it's Kemper over Algona 52-21. Take a look at some of the other scores. DCG beats Atumwa tonight 49-0. St. Edmunds in 8-man football over Newell Fonda 64-28. Taking a look at other scores from around the area, we do have Clear Lake knocks off Humboldt 23-7. Carroll has Humboldt next week. Humboldt state runners up in Class 3A a season ago, so that's going to be a really good ball game coming up for Carroll next week. Other scores from around the state, we got Bishop Heelan knocking off Lamar's 27-12. It's Madrid all over North Mahaska 50-0. Taking a look at some other scores as well for you. I believe Nevada knocked off PCM 30-28. North Polk over Newton in a ranked matchup 16-13. And then we do have as well tonight one of your final scores, Riverside over Mount Ayr 44-32. Guys, we've talked about some of the scores from around the state. Let's talk about the Audubon win a little bit. Coach Sean Burke's 2 statement wins back-to-back weeks. Week 1 knocks off Remsen St. Mary's, defending Class 8-man football state champs, and then comes in and beats Griswold. Griswold maybe a little outmatched in this game tonight, but 2 really big wins for Sean Burke's and the Wheelers, able to mix in some kids, and that's going to be good bolting forward for him for the rest of the season.
Yeah, definitely, and he also, kind of like Eric McCullough said, they have a JV game coming up on Monday, so some of those younger kids got a little taste tonight, but they'll get to play a lot more come Monday night. So, he's sitting there really, really pretty well with, he's got decent numbers, a lot of mixture of, with classes. Mm-hmm. I mean, quite a few freshmen, quite a few sophomore. I mean, at all grade levels. So, he's thinking he's got a shot at that state championship, and it'd be kind of nice if they could bring one home to the area.
Yeah, and Audubon wins tonight 76-8. The Wheelers will have Arweva coming up next week. Arweva comes from behind, knocks off Glidden Ralston 15-14 in that matchup. And Coon Rapids Bayard, after only picking up a couple wins last year, they beat Siouxland Christian 60-0 last week. Obviously, Siouxland Christian having to cancel their football season with low numbers coming out of that victory. But I'd like to see what happened with the Crusaders tonight, falling down early but able to fight back, and it sounds like Caden Oswald played pretty good tonight.
Yeah, he did say that. He's first-year quarterback, so it's going to take him a little bit to go, but he's real pleased with the kids' effort, coming into work every day, trying to get better, and, I think they'll be all right before the season's over.
Yeah, that 8-man district, I think right now outside of Audubon, pretty wide open, Craig. I think you'd have to agree.
Yeah, I think, Audubon's kind of your head above everybody. I know Coach Burke's down there. I know one of his former players, and it seems like his kids really, really enjoy playing for him, and they buy into what he's pushing for them, and he's got a great opportunity, I think, this year to make a great run for that state championship.
We will step away, take a break. We'll be back with more of the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show here on KCIM and Kick 106.7.
Hey there, I'm Kaylor, part of the sales team at New Way Ford.
And I'm Matt, also on the New Way Ford sales team. We're here to tell you why shopping with us is different.
We've got great prices, a no-pressure approach, and a staff that knows the ins and outs of every vehicle on the lot.
And let's not forget, every new vehicle comes with warranty forever. That's coverage for as long as you own the vehicle.
It's just one more reason people are choosing New Way Ford.
So if you're shopping for your next ride, come see us at New Way Ford in Coon Rapids.
Drive the difference at New Way Ford. Visit us today in Coon Rapids or online at newwayford.net.
Feld Fire of Carroll is the choice of homeowners and business professionals. They chose Feld Fire because of the local and prompt service, 24/7 technician support, and the ability to control their security device from their mobile device. That makes keeping your property safer even easier. A professional Feld representative can help you create a protection plan for your home or business. No matter what you're trying to protect, they've got you covered. Feld Fire of Carroll, proud supporters of our area high school athletes.
Bruner, Reinhardt, and Morton is a general practice law firm that's been providing highly ethical, professional, and dedicated legal services to their clients since 1936 in Carroll, Glidden, Coon Rapids, and Guthrie Center communities. Bruner, Reinhardt, and Morton is a 4-attorney firm with a combined 97 years of experience. For more information, call Barry, Dave, Eric, or Jessica at 792-3480 or visit brunerlegal.com.
Welcome to the New Way Auto Scoreboard Show. With me on the phone right now is Brian Case. The Titans fell tonight to Ridgeview 28-6. We talked a little briefly, and you talked about good days, bad days, and this wasn't one of those good days, was it, Brian?
No, Jim. Yeah, like I said, every day is a good day. Some are just better than others, and this one tonight, we thought that we were going to take a step forward, and we didn't do that. Credit, Ridgeview. I thought that they took a huge step forward from what we had seen on film from week 1 to week 2, and we just didn't do that. I mean, in every phase of the game, it just seemed like we were stagnant. It almost seemed like we're not ready to play. So that falls back on me as the head coach, making sure that the guys are ready to play. Way too many penalties tonight. Didn't move the ball real well on the ground. Didn't move the ball real well in the air. Defensively, we really thought that they were probably going to throw the ball quite a bit, and they didn't. They didn't have to. I mean, they kept it on the ground and just kind of ran it down our throats. So we had our hands full with these guys, but we still had an opportunity, Jim. It was 7-6 at halftime, and we came out in the second half. Obviously, didn't score again, but they just kept it out of our hands, and we couldn't stop them from the defensive side of it, and we obviously couldn't score.
Yeah, there are nights that go that way, and once you get off the bus, the kids have to be ready to go.
Yeah,
if they're not, it can make for a long night, and that's kind of what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, no question. And like I said, and that falls back on me. That falls back on the coaching. And since I'm the head guy, I mean, it does fall back on me, so I take full responsibility for that. But it just seemed like our kids were still on the bus, or we got out of school early today just to decorate for homecoming, which is next week, and then maybe some of our kids were still on the homecoming weekend focus. I don't know, but we just were not ready to play tonight. Raptors came out and kind of smacked us in the mouth, and it's just one of those things that we're going to have to go back to work Monday morning. Hopefully we can take a step forward next week and try and get better next week during homecoming.
Sure. So who did play well for you?
I thought Garrett did a decent job. He plays as a running back. We split him out every now and then at the receiver position. We put him back there at free safety. We actually had him cover up their best receiver. Their best receiver didn't even have a catch tonight, so we're pretty proud about that. But it's just one of those things that it takes everybody. You can't just single out one kid, and everything starts up front for us, offensively and defensively. And tonight it just didn't work out. But as far as the standout kids, it's a team game, and we weren't there tonight.
Sure. Well, I know you need to get going. Let's see. You said you had homecoming next week. Ooh, IKM Manning. The Wolves are coming up to your place. What do you know, or what do you think about next week?
Yeah, it's another tough one. I mean, Corey does a great job with those guys year in and year out, and they're going to come in here, and they're going to have some really big kids up front. They got some really fast, skilled kids, and so forth, and they execute at a high level. They don't run an awful lot of plays, but what they do really, really well. And they're going to be hungry. It's one of those things as well that our focus better be on football and not on homecoming, because if it's on homecoming, it's going to be a long night for us. So we're just going to have to make sure that we try and take a step forward this week. We're going to have to get tougher. We're going to have to make sure that we're controlling the line of scrimmage. We're going to have to make sure that we have great eye discipline, and we're running the football defensively. Offensively, we're just going to have to execute a lot better than we have been the first 2 weeks. And if we can do that, I think that we can hang around and give ourselves a chance against the Wolves next week.
All right. Hey, you know what? I've officiated quite a few of your games and been around you and known you. You will make sure that they are prepared and ready to go this week. I can almost guarantee that.
Jim, that's the plan. We'll just see how things play out.
All right. That's been Brian Case, head coach of the South Central Calhoun Titans.
Bruner, Reinhardt, and Morton is a general practice law firm that's been providing highly ethical, professional, and dedicated legal services to their clients since 1936 in Carroll, Glidden, Coon Rapids, and Guthrie Center communities. Brunner, Reinhardt & Morton is a 4-attorney firm with a combined 97 years of experience. For more information, call Barry, Dave, Eric, or Jessica at 792-3480 or visit BrunnerLegal.com.
Welcome back to the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show as we are approaching midnight here on week 2 of the high school football season. It is officially wrapped up. We got Mason Nealon in the studio. And Mason, you had a chance to see the Carroll Tigers tonight. And coming into the season, everybody was questioning quarterback play. You lose a great group of seniors off a playoff team from a season ago. What's the offense going to look like? Kind of your thoughts tonight on how the Tigers played. They fell at home, but had, I think, chances in that game to really get the lead, but fell 27-19.
Just looking at the game there, I really think Camden King has the ability to be a really good quarterback in that district. It just seems like he's one step away, and that one step is just the accuracy part. I mean, he did it with his legs tonight, being able to get out of the pocket and find his way there, but it seems like a lot of the times he was either trying to force a ball down the field where he couldn't get the ball there, and then sometimes he would just overthrow a receiver here and there. But I think that comes with it being a second start there. And I think on the defensive end, it was just that they gave up that big play right away. Spencer got that momentum, and then they tied it up again, but it was always Spencer right after that getting something out there.
Yeah. It always seemed like Spencer had an answer for whatever Carroll did, but I think a turning point in that game was Kieran Boken coming away with a fumble recovery on a punt or something like that.
I know the quarterback had I think it was Gavin Holt, had rolled him over, and the quarterback's arm comes swinging up like this. Ball pops in the air, and Kieran grabs it with his hands and has 6 defensive linemen, run behind him all the way into the end zone. So it was a really kind of bam play like that where the ball pops up in the air and Kieran took off with it, but you didn't see it from our vantage point.
Carroll, a team that's going to run the football, and then they showed that so far this season. They got a tough test in Webster's Humboldt. If I can get the name out, it is a school up towards that direction of the state. They've got Humboldt coming here to town next week. Humboldt, your Class 3A runner-up from a season ago, so a very tough test that they got coming next week. What have you seen from that Carroll team going forward if they want to pull off a big upset next week?
I think it's just going to be kind of consistency because it seems like, one play here, they can get this really big play and they can get some momentum going, and then they get stopped on a 3rd down or a 4th down when it's 3rd and 3 or 4th and 3. And I think as well it's going to come down to blocking because there were some times tonight you get a huge gap on that right side between Caden Luters and Gavin Holt where Adam Mallett could basically drive a semi-truck through it. And then some other times they got blown up there and then Adam had to kind of make his own play out of it. So I feel like if you can get the blocking down, the consistency down on both sides of the ball there, you can really come out and sneak out with a win against Humboldt.
We'll move on and talk a little bit about the games throughout the state, and you have a chance, you and Jeff talk every week to all the coaches. You can check that out, Carroll Broadcasting Sports Network website and all that stuff. What have you heard from the coaches around the area and kind of how teams are performing here? I know it's only week 2, but in the second week, you really find out a lot about your team. What are some of the things that have stood out for you here in week 2?
I mean, score-wise, it's got to be that Audubon game. 76 points on that Griswold team. I know Griswold probably not the best team in 8-man football, but I know that Sean Burks thinks that team can go really far this year, and in talking to him in the previews, and he said that he thinks that team's got something special on there. And then the other one that I got to look at, obviously, is Kemper, with Kemper beating a class ahead of them, ranked team in Algona. I know that Steiny had said that they had some stuff to work on after that Cherokee game, but it feels like in that second half of that Kemper game, they got everything down.
Yeah, and Kemper right now looking like the favorite in that district, but another tough team. OABCIG picks up a win over Tri-Center tonight, 18-14. Tri-Center defending Class 1A state champs. And give props to Coon Rapids Bayard, a team that dealt with a lot of injuries a season ago, and looks to be with a new quarterback under center and Caden Oswald, one of the fastest kids in 8-man football. Seems to be catching their groove right now too, especially in week 2.
Yeah, I mean, a kid that finished top 8 in the state in sprinting last year at the state track meet is out there playing quarterback, so you got to feel happy about that. But what Nathan Lindsay has said is that he's made tremendous improvements between the preseason and now being able to throw the ball. I feel like that connection between him and Ethan Bauer in week 1 was really strong. I think 3 touchdown catches for Ethan Bauer, but if Caden Oswald can get an arm on him, that's going to be an elite quarterback.
taking a look at that 8-man District 9, Arweva, Glidden, Ralston, a close game tonight, 2 local schools, all the area schools that we have in 8-man football within that district. What do you take away from that? Audubon right now looking like the favorite, and it's only week 2. A lot can happen. They play 8 weeks, but Audubon right now looking like the favorite in that district. But I think second and third place for those last 2 playoff spots got to be wide open. Craig, your thoughts on this? Mason, yours as well.
Well, I think it's going to take probably about the entire 8-man to get hurt on Audubon for them to not have a chance to go through that entire district. But you look at it now, Glidden Ralston looked good in week 1. Then they fall to Arweva in week 2. Both teams 1-1. Coon Rapids 1-1. It's really going to be once they start playing each other to figure out who's going to be the best and second best in that district.
Yeah, I think I think that district being a lot of local kids and coaches and stuff there, I think we're going to have a great preview already. There's a lot of evenly matched teams falling right in behind that Audubon. Audubon's kind of the upper echelon, and then you're going to have the Coon Rapids and the Glidden, the Arwevas. They're going to be fighting hard for that second and third spot.
And I think you got to look at the defenses, too, in that district. Audubon holding Griswold to 6 points tonight. How many 8-man football games do you see 15-14? So 2 good defenses over there, and Glidden and Arweva's got a good one, too. I think that's a one important takeaway from that 8-man district, and that the defenses showed up this week.
Yeah, but for Audubon, obviously, that defense is always going to be there. I think in their week 1, they had a fumble return, interception return. I think tonight they had almost the same exact thing happen for them. But for Arweva and Glidden Ralston, like you said, there is barely any 8-man scores that look like they're playing in a Class 3A or Class 4A game there. But for Arweva, I think also on offense, you got to look at it too. Wyatt Regaler taking over at quarterback this week since Jonathan Rieselman going down. And for him, it was all about running the ball. He had, I think, 34 carries, 234 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground.
Well, I was looking here as I was, listening to you guys talk, and we'll get to the whole schedule, but, Arweva and Audubon play next week, Coon Rapids, Baird, and Exira, so we're going to start playing each other, so they're going to start, setting themselves up to make a run at another spot, with especially behind Audubon, but you just never know. Somebody may surprise them, but I don't think so. But stranger things happen, and it's football, and the ball bounces funny, and
you get inclement weather or something. A lot of things can happen in that night.
I was going to say for Exira EHK, that's going to be a test because obviously with Siouxland Christian going down, they didn't have a matchup this week. So then Coon Rapids Bear are going to be 2 games straight and back-to-back weeks. Exira's going to have a week off here where they just practice.
Yeah, and that's a good thing, too, because you get 2 weeks to prepare for Coon Rapids Bear team that has probably shown, I don't know if most people thought what their quarterback situation was going to look like. They knew it was going to be a lot of Caden Oswald, Ethan Bauer, but how that was look, you don't really know. So I think now with 2 weeks to prepare for Coon Rapids Bayard, who knows what Exira can come and do next week. Like I said, I think that outside of Audubon right now, they've kind of shown the last 2 weeks as the clear favorite who can separate themselves as the second and third team in that district.
Yeah, Exira not too far from Coon Rapids Bayard there. This week you could almost just watch live film if you were the Exira team. You could go there and watch that Cam and Coon Rapids game and figure it out. I don't know if that's what they did or not, but for Exira, I think it's going to be a test for them. But for Coon Rapids, I think they could show out next week. If they can pick up a big win against Exira, they may move into that second slot for us early in the season.
ICAM Manning falls at home tonight, 31-26 in that game. They were down early, able to fight back. I know Corey kind of said they left some plays out on the field, but that's a lot of experience coming back for ICAM Manning this year. Ben Ramsey is third year under center for him. Davis Rasmussen has seen a lot of time, a really good defense for them. I think they'll right the ship and kind of get it going forward from here on out. They've got to be at least one of the teams you look at there in the Class A District 8.
Yeah, when their rushing game is going, their rushing game's going. I know Davis Rasmussen last week against East Sac got the rushing game going, but talking to McCarville, he said that Ben Ramsey has really taken some jumps going into his senior year, so he thinks that, third year in the system, third year under center, not much has changed in the system, but a lot has changed with Ben Ramsey.
Yeah, he mentioned that tonight, too, as far as Ben Ramsey making some really good decisions on when to throw the ball and when to keep the ball, and had a nice big long run, he said, breakaway for a touchdown. So he's making some better decisions and just growing as a quarterback for him.
We'll take a look at one more district here before we take a break. Class 1A District 2, Ridgeview, a pretty good football team. South Central Calhoun's got to go on the road, a very improved football team from Ridgeview. Their head coach came from Newell Fonda, if I remember correctly, when Newell Fonda was really good, so you knew it was just going to be a little bit before that Ridgeview team started playing good football. And ESAC evens up 1-1. I know very disappointed after last week's results, but they get on the board with a win. Both those two teams can still vie for a playoff spot there. I know Emmitsburg, last couple of seasons, has been really good in that district. They've graduated quite a few kids over the last couple of years, but you look at that district, MVAOCOU's 2-0, Panorama, I believe is 1-1, Emmitsburg 2-0, but that district seems to be wide open right now.
Yeah, I think, you look at ESAC and you got to tip your cap to Coach McCullough. I think they're up 25-0 and still kind of gave up a couple points to Alta Aurelia, but he was a little upset with last week's game. He said they didn't execute the way they should, and he thinks that, they had to go out and execute this week, and I think they executed to the best of their ability. And then South Central Calhoun, with a coach like Brian Case, you can never count those guys out of a game, but Ridgeview, obviously, a really talented program. And I think that for South Central Calhoun, they're still trying to work out that quarterback situation. Last week, they had Luke Patterson at quarterback, and then they switched over to Cade Higgins, and so they moved kind of the quarterbacks there. And I don't know tonight if they had gone back to Patterson or they had Higgins back there, but they were running kind of a two-man quarterback set just to see who was going to take kind of the helm for them. But I don't know if they're done figuring out who that is yet or not.
Yeah, we will go ahead. We'll step away, take a break. We'll wrap up the Scoreboard show when we come back here on KCIM and Kick 106.7.
Since 1968, Mackey Motors has been serving Lake City and the surrounding communities with new and certified pre-owned vehicles. Mackey Motors is a full-service dealership providing oil changes in our Quick Lube Express bays, a service department with world-class trained technicians, a body shop and collision center with the latest equipment, a full vehicle detailing department, or come talk with one of our highly knowledgeable sales staff.
Recipient of the GM Mark of Excellence Award for 16 years running. Together, let's drive at Mackey Motors in Lake City. MackeyMotors.com.
Clogged gutters, dirty windows, lint-filled dryer vents. Don't wait till it's too late. At Curb Appeal of WCI, we make home care simple. Our gutter cleaning protects your roof and foundation from costly water damage. Our dryer vent cleaning improves airflow, lowers energy bills, and reduces fire risk. And our window cleaning leaves your home brighter, streak-free, and full of natural light. Protect your home, save money, enjoy the view. Call Curb Appeal of WCI today at 712-210-9580.
Hey there, I'm Kaylor, part of the sales team at New Way Ford.
And I'm Matt, also on the New Way Ford sales team. We're here to tell you why shopping with us is different.
We've got great prices, a no-pressure approach, and a staff that knows the ins and outs of every vehicle on the lot.
And let's not forget, every new vehicle comes with warranty forever. That's coverage for as long as you own the vehicle.
It's just one more reason people are choosing New Way Ford.
So if you're shopping for your next ride, come see us at New Way Ford in Coon Rapids.
Drive the difference at New Way Ford. Visit us today in Coon Rapids or online at newwayford.net.
From bump set spike to the crack of the bat, at Motor Inn of Carroll, we love our high school sports. And we love the opportunity to support our local schools, athletes, coaches, and parents. Through the hard work of our kids, we get the enjoyment of watching and listening to their activities. Other life lessons, like teamwork and citizenship, help create outstanding young women and men we are so proud to sponsor. Good luck to all of our local sports teams. From Motor Inn of Carroll.
Hey there, I'm Kaylor, part of the sales team at New Way Ford.
And I'm Matt, also on the New Way Ford sales team. We're here to tell you why shopping with us is different.
We've got great prices, a no-pressure approach, and a staff that knows the ins and outs of every vehicle on the lot.
And let's not forget, every new vehicle comes with warranty forever. That's coverage for as long as you own the vehicle.
It's just one more reason people are choosing New Way Ford.
So if you're shopping for your next ride, come see us at New Way Ford in Coon Rapids.
Drive the difference at New Way Ford. Visit us today in Coon Rapids or online at newwayford.net.
Big things are happening at Outlaw Graphics in Carroll. Outlaw Graphics is on the move, literally. They're excited to announce they've expanded into a brand new shop, bringing you more space, more capabilities, and even more ways to help your business, team, or your event stand out. From eye-catching vehicle wraps and commercial signage to custom apparel, if you want your logo on it, they can make it happen. Planning a special event? Make it memorable with personalized t-shirts, koozies, or hats designed just for you. Watch their new space come to life. Follow the excitement on Facebook at Outlaw Signs, Graphics, and Apparel.
Welcome you back to the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show here on Kick 106.7 as well as 1380 AM, 95.1 FM at KCIM. Casey Miners, Jim Molitor, Craig Lux with you in the studios. We take a look at Week 3 of the Iowa High School football season for some of our area schools. I'll give you the games that we got on the airwaves coming up next week in Week 3. Humboldt will be at Carroll. We talked about that a little bit. An early test for the Carroll Tigers coming into town next week. Pre-game 6:25, kickoff at 7. You can catch that game right here on 1380 AM, 95.1 FM at KCIM with the Jeff and Blankman. Kemper will be on the long trek into southern Iowa as they travel to Shenandoah. Pre-game 6:25, kickoff at 7. That over on 93.7 Kate Carroll with Nick Brinks. And then the last game that'll be on the schedule on our family of stations here. ICAM Manning is at South Central Calhoun. Pre-game 6:25, kickoff at 7 on a Kick 106.7 with the one and only Mason and Nealon. Guys, taking a look at next week's games, what games stand out to you?
Well, I think the ICAM Manning at South Central Calhoun should be a pretty good ball game for Mason on his maiden voyage by himself. Corey will have his kids ready. They'll be hungry for a win. Brian definitely will have his kids ready. Now hungry for, they both fell tonight. So they need to get back on track. And so it should be a good game, and I'm going to date myself here. That, that's two teams from the old Midwest Conference back in the 70s and whatever, but at that time it was just Lake City and Manning. So, but they're not all that far apart. So I think that'll be a good one.
Rest of the games on the docket for next week. MVAOCOU at ESAC. That's a test for ESAC County. MVAOCOU wins big over Manson Northwest Webster tonight. I believe they're 2-0 on the season. Arweva is going to be at Audubon. A good game there in 8-man District 9. Griswold travels to Glidden Ralston and Coon Rapids Barrett at Exira, Elkhorn to Kimballton. Craig, out of the games we just mentioned, kind of what stands out to you?
We were just talking about that Coon Rapids Exira game. That's one of those games that could be a defining moment in that district. Who comes out on that, and Coon Rapids kind of trying to get into that groove of getting on a winning streak, and that could be a real big win for them if they can walk out of there with that.
I think one game that's going to stand out, we talked about in defenses, and two defenses that played really good this week in Arweva and Audubon. That game going to be in Audubon. We'll see what Audubon looks like. Probably, outside of Remsen and St. Mary's, Arweva might be the best team that our Audubon's played so far this year, and two teams that are going to be really well prepared to see each other come next week.
Yeah, and if memory, I am not.
It's been a while since they played.
I think Berksey said that maybe it's homecoming this week too
for them. Yeah, for Audubon.
So that you got that going, and so you got to keep them focused. Got to keep them focused. And I know Brian Case said the same thing. It's going to be homecoming up there for them also. So we'll see how things go.
We'll run you through that scoreboard, that schedule again for you next week, coming up on Week 3. Humboldt at Carroll, that one on KCIM with Jeff Blakeman, pregame 6:25, kickoff at 7. Kemper travels to Shenandoah, pregame 6:25, kickoff at 7 on KKRL with the Nick Brinks. ICAM Manning at South Central Calhoun, pregame is going to be at 6:25, kickoff at 7 with Mason Nealon on Kick 106.7. MVAOCOU travels to ESAC, Arweva at Audubon, Griswold at Glidden Ralston, and Coon Rapids Barrett at Exira, Elkhorn at Kimballton. That will do it for the New Way Auto Group Scoreboard Show tonight. We are officially going to end it at midnight for everybody else that's been on the show with me. Jim Molitor, Craig Lux will see you next week here on KCIM and Kick 106.7.
When you need to know, KCIM is the place to listen on 1380 AM and 95.1 FM. This is KCIM Carroll.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.